Things are a little chaotic right now here on the farm. I mean, just to give you a little sense of what things are looking like right now. Got this excavator here. All of this ground has been ripped up. Let's keep going. It gets more drastic. We've got all this up here. The water pump is gone. It's actually right over here. More lines and digging here. And more lines and digging here. Yeah, there's some drastic stuff going on. And so I wanted to talk to you guys today about what's happening in the farm and what's changing, because this farm will never be the same after this. Love my duckies, but where's my Tobies? I love my duckies, but where's my Tobies? Hey, buddy boy. Did you have a good night? Let's get this fence open for you. Come here, come here. Ooh, how's my Toby dog? How you doing this morning, buddy? Did you have a good night? Yeah? Did you? Good. Let's greet the day. I've been meaning to do this for a very long time, but I was taking my sweet time to figure out exactly what I wanted to do. So over the last 2+ years that I've been keeping ducks and geese and having this be an actual farm, one of the things that I've received a lot of criticism on is the fact that, one, we don't have hoses all around the farm running water out to the birds, and two, I insisted on carrying heavy buckets of water back and forth, whether it be from the barn or the house, out to the ducks, whether they're in the pasture or in a duck house. And there was good reasons for it. Number one, it would have taken an awful long hose to do it, and that would have been rather expensive. I wasn't 100% sure where I wanted to put the water lines. In fact, by my calculations, for the last 2 years, 365 days a year, I've been carrying an average of 6 buckets of water. And so if I do the math...
I want you to meet a friend of mine who is fondly referred to as the human calculator.
It's about 4,380 buckets of water that I've carried from somewhere over here to somewhere out there. And when you think about it, right, a bucket of water is somewhere between 40 and 45 pounds. That's a lot of work. But I did that really for 2 reasons. First, I found if I put hoses out here and ran them back and forth, it would only be something I could do for about 5 months out of the year. The remaining time of the year, I would have to disconnect those hoses because there'd be a risk of them bursting and freezing. And on top of it all, hoses are a pain in the neck. I'd have to constantly move them. I'd be tripping over them. They're expensive, and so it just didn't seem worth it to me. And then the other part of why I didn't do something like this sooner is because when it comes down to it, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. I didn't know that I wanted to try to create like a little cluster of outbuildings over there for raising waterfowl. I thought I might want to use the barn. I thought I might want to put something over here. But after working on this and spending time with all of this and trying to figure out what the best approach was, and so now that I know exactly what I want to do, I'm running power lines from the house as well as a well water line from the house out to the barn and out to the, call it waterfowl city that's over there. This is gonna make my life so much easier. It's gonna make it so much better. It's gonna make working on the farm a lot simpler, and I'm really excited for it. Whew. Gotta be careful though walking around right now. You could fall into the pit. Yeah, Toby, you don't want to end up like Andy Dwyer, now do you? So that finicky pump that I had right here, it's gonna go right back, right around there. I'm gonna probably rotate it about 90 degrees. But the plan is that there's gonna be water right here, and that I'm gonna be reconnecting the power box that's right here. And so I'll be able to have power down in this area, and I'll have water down here. I think that that's gonna make just a massive difference in terms of how I can use the space underneath the barn. And so then the second line is gonna run out here, and I'm gonna be putting in, like, call it like a little pump house / electrical station right about here. That'll make it a short hose run over to the duck house. It also makes it very easy for me to run lines out to the pasture if I wanted to during the summer months when I have birds out there. And then in the wintertime when I have to transport water, it's only a, 30-foot walk from where the pump is to where the birds would be. Also, having the power right here will allow me to hook up my brooder house and even perhaps build a second brooder house right about here. It's really important when it comes to planning for the future, really. Would you look at some of the rocks we're digging up, man? It's the joy of a farm in New England. The one thing you don't struggle for is looking for good rock. You know, when you look at the countryside around here and how it's scattered with these ancient old rock walls, the main reason is because the farmers would till up their fields and they would dig them up and they'd need to have somewhere to put all the rocks. So they figured they might as well use it to keep their animals in place. And so that's how you ended up with these rock walls. For us, and what we're gonna do, I'm not sure. The labor that it would take to build my own rock wall doesn't feel like it's worth it to me. But I might try to do something else. You'll see. Release the Kraken! I feel like my ducks always split into two squads. We got this group and we got that group. They'll make their way down to the pond eventually. Speaking of the pond, I know some of you guys have been wondering, well, how are things going with the pond? And it's going okay. It's still generally holding the water. And I think one of the things that a lot of you haven't quite realized is the size of the pond isn't actually all that big. It's really only, you know, this area that you see dug out here. We had a swale that we dug there, but that was simply to just capture the water that would be coming down from other parts of the pasture and ensure that the lowest point was always leading right here to the pond. By doing that, it ensures that our water that ends up here in the pasture is always gonna at least start landing here. Obviously, there's a lot of overflow that happens, but this overflow's happened the last couple of years, and so I think that's just how the land is. Part of what I'm working on too and thinking about is actually putting in some crop space right around here. So since the sod's been ripped up and since it's nice moisturized soil, I'll probably end up putting, whether it be sunflowers or corn or beans or pumpkins, something right about here. And I know you guys might be wondering, well, why am I talking about those 4 crops specifically? Well, let me take you over to another part of the farm here and show you something. So you can see this field here. We actually just tilled this up. Toby, get out of the chestnuts, man. Get out of the chestnuts. You're killing the little baby trees. Get out there, buddy. Hey, go, go, go. We decided to actually till up and fertilize this area right here. So I wanted to kind of do a, call it Three Sisters field, where I'm growing corn, squash of some sort, and beans all in this area. The corn and squash are gonna be for both us and our animals. The beans will be for us. And I'll probably actually also end up growing some sunflowers along that edge right over there. It's gonna be sort of like a variation on the traditional Three Sisters or Four Sisters garden that a lot of Native Americans would grow, but it's probably not gonna be exactly the same, and then I'm not planning on having it all completely grown in mounds or clusters. Rather, I'm gonna do it in like a couple of strips. I think the only thing I'm considering interplanting is the squash, which I think is gonna be a variety of pumpkin. By doing that, it'll help me with just some ground cover and managing weeds. Given all the uncertainty in the world and potential rising costs of food, it felt like this would be a smart, simple thing to do that wouldn't be all that much effort. So for like not very much money at all, I had a neighbor come in here and he ended up tilling all of this and then dumping a truckload of old 4-year-old composted cow manure. And yeah, I think I'm ready to grow. This could be a failure. This could just be a waste of time and energy. It felt relatively low risk and I was willing to just give it a shot. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I felt like I might as well try to just take out this tiny little insurance policy just in case the cost of animal feed skyrockets, the cost of human feed skyrockets, something like that happens. I'm ready for it and I've braced myself. So stay tuned. I'll probably do a planting of things very soon. I also know a lot of you guys are wondering about how our chestnuts are doing. They're right here. They're actually just starting to pop up and bud up. They are just little tiny babies, not that big at all. My plan is to plant them out there probably by the fall. And so I'm just going to give them one more year here of growth. It lets me water them. It lets me take care of them, give them a good start before they get out there. My little experiment with the wild apples too is also doing really well. These are actually wild apple trees, and I think you can see them right here. I've got probably hundreds of... Toby, get out of here. Get out of the apple orchard, man. Come on, go. Toby, go. Hey, go. Go. Thank you. Huh. I wonder what that is. We'll have to go check that out in a minute. I'm sure he's got it well in hand. Let me explain the apples and then I'll take you over there. Got these hundreds of little baby apple trees right here. They're all wild apple. I basically just took a whole bunch of pulp from making apple cider and spread it out here. And I've let it sit here for about 2 years now and they're popping up. Probably by the time that they finish growing this year, I will actually put them out in the permaculture orchard as well. The idea being I can use those as either rootstock or cider apples for the future. And so I'm just constantly trying to sprout new trees here on the farm because, again, it's something that takes a relatively small amount of effort, but if I'm really patient, can pay lots of dividends long term. All right, now let's go see what Toby was barking about. Okay, buddy, what was it? What was it? What was catching your attention, huh? Looks like everybody's good. Everybody's swimming. Something just, got your radar up and you barked. That's cool. Yeah, when you have a good guard dog like that, I gotta say, it puts my mind so much more at ease. Because I know at the very least, he'll scare something off or even just coming in the vicinity. And he'll really go crazy if something actually is here. And so it's kind of nice having him here. Plus, he's just a good friend. Isn't that right, buddy? Isn't that right? So as you can see here, this is my beginning collection of fence posts. One of the things I'm going to be spending a lot of time this year on is building a perimeter fence around the pasture. The idea is I want to fence off about a 7-acre portion of the pasture and permaculture orchard so that Toby and the ducks and the geese can kind of all run free in that area. It gives the dog more space. It gives the birds more space. The dog protects the birds. The fence protects everybody and keeps Toby from wandering off. But I can't do that without having fence posts. And so I'm going out cutting cedars. We have a massive cedar forest out there where there are literally thousands of cedar trees. And so I'm just going through and selectively harvesting the ones that I want. We're also going to be doing a new fence around Allison's garden over here. I'm finding I'm spending a ton of time cutting down cedars. I'll probably make a video about that as well in the near future. And by the way, if you guys are interested in seeing more about any topic I'm talking about in this video, be sure to leave it down in the comments. Try to keep the channel interesting in terms of what I cover of all of our farm activities. I know some of you are just like, hey, I'm just here for the ducks and geese, bro. Speaking of geese, let's go check on the geese. Be careful for the holes there, Toby. Good morning, geesey geese. Hey, Justin Finch Fletchley. Don't bite my hands off, guys. It's cool, it's cool. Want to see how the babies are doing? They're looking good. Yeah, everybody's doing really well in here. So we've got the 5 parent geese still living in the goose house, plus 2 of the babies that hatched are still with them. I took the 3rd baby that hatched and brought it inside. I'm raising it with the other goslings that I hatched the week before. It's funny to see the difference in size between the birds that I hatched inside and the one little bird that I hatched outside, or I should say the parents hatched outside and brought inside. It's amazing. She's only about a week behind, or even less than a week behind her brothers and sisters, but she's a lot smaller in relative comparison. I feel like it's been a very enlightening experience, and it's sort of myth-busting for me in this idea that by having the adults raise the goslings, it's a lot less work. At least at the rate I'm going at right now, it's a lot harder and a lot more stressful to have the goslings out here versus brooding them like in the normal fashion where I have a lot more control of things. This whole experiment of doing side-by-side hatchings with the geese, of having the parents hatch and raise or doing it myself, it was really very much intended to be an experiment and help guide the future direction of my farm. My plan very soon for these guys is to actually put them all out on pasture, including the babies. But that's probably, I don't know, another week or 2. I want to get them just a little bit bigger, and I want it to get a little bit warmer outside before I do that. Stand back, stand back, stand back. Yeah. Okay, rise and shine, chickens. Greet the new day. These chickens have been nice and easy and awesome right now, so I'm very happy about it. Let me break up your water. Make sure it's not too frozen. All right, everybody's good. Hey, look, all the parents decided to come out for a minute. You guys can come out anytime you'd like. You know that, right? Chick, 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 chick. Chick, 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 chick. Come on, Daddy. Chick, 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 chick. So yeah, this little ghetto farm is maybe getting to be a little less ghetto, even though right now it looks chaotic. It's gonna be pretty awesome pretty soon. Toby, do we have some escaped ducks over there? Hey, I need your help, man. Gotta round these ducks up. Let's go. It's like an episode of Cops, Guard Dog edition. Let's go. Come on.
Bad boys, what you